Yes.
Okay, very good. Can you raise your right hand, please? You solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Thank you. You can put your hand down. Ms. Miller, you may proceed.
Thank you, sir. Shannon, would you please tell us your name and spell your last name?
Shannon Brinkley, Brinkley. Sacramento, California. I'm an elementary school teacher. Yeah. I met Russell in 1981. We got together and we dated, and then I got pregnant when I was 17, and I moved in with him, and we lived together for a while. And then after a while, it wasn't working out, so I moved out, and I wished him well. We didn't have, I wouldn't say it was a terrible breakup or anything. It wasn't horrible. It just didn't work out. That Yeah, so we were, that's how we met, was at the welfare office. He was trying to get on Medi-Cal to get an appointment to see a dentist, and I was in there for another reason. And we were waiting for a while, and I can't remember who approached who. Probably he approached me, but we were both, looking for somebody to talk to while we were waiting. And I think at the end of the appointment, I needed a ride, and he gave me a ride home. And that was the beginning of our relationship. Yes, I was 17 when we first, well, I might have been 16, late 16 at that point, and he was 20, yeah. So I think he's 3.5 years older than I am. Yeah, we have a child. His name is Nathan. He's my only child. Yep. Nathan Russell Tillis, named after his dad, partly. Nathan was born in 82. He's going to be 39 this year, so he's 38 right now. So I was still in high school, and he wanted me to continue getting my high school education. He wanted me to graduate, and he didn't expect me to work, which was really nice because we needed the money. But he went to work every single day, and he totally provided for us. It wasn't perfect. We didn't get along all the time, but for the most part, it was fairly good. What happened is I started putting pressure on him to make more money, and at one point he decided to start selling drugs. And I didn't take drugs at that time, or really ever, but he started selling, I'm pretty sure it was methamphetamine. And my dad was over one day and saw it, and told me he saw Russell preparing it and saw it in person, and he told me about it because Russell didn't tell me. I didn't know. But then it became very obvious after a while that he was using it himself. And that's why, to make a long story short, that was the beginning of the end for me. Plus some things that I learned about him while we were together kind of scared me a little bit, and that made me not want to invest. I did. He told me his mom, that he was addicted to speed. I didn't know what it was exactly, but he told me that his mom had helped him get over it. And there's certain things in my mind that I remember clearly, and there's other things that I just remember vague memories of, but I remember he's telling me how much he appreciated his mother, and that it was really hard, that she practically had to tie him down or something. I don't know, somehow or another she kept him away from it. And he got off of it, and he wanted a fresh start. And I think he wanted to get away from some bad influences there in Florida, and he came out to California for a fresh start. And he met me, and I was, kind of, not perfect or anything, but I was more on the wholesome side. And I think that it was good for a while. And for whatever reason, he decided not to, stay with that. It was too hard, or I don't know why, but he went back on drugs, and it just became bad. At one point, I guess you could say the final straw was when women were knocking on our door late at night, offering, for what I felt like they were offering sex in exchange for drugs. And I was right there, and I this is not cool. I didn't like that at all. Yes, he did. He mentioned to me right towards the beginning, soon after we moved in together, that his father was abusive to him. And of course that intrigued me. So he wasn't really forthcoming, but I did pressure him and ask him details, what do you mean, and how was that? And he basically told me that his father sexually abused first Claude, the third, I think his name is Bubba, and then it became him. And I don't know exactly how old he was, but it was definitely my impression that it started when he was pretty young. And I remember him saying that at one point it stopped, and then he said his brother started to do it too, and I think to him. And then I think that was really hurtful, because before it was the both of them were the victims, and now his brother was doing it to him. But I don't know how long, or I don't know if that was just for a very short time. I don't think it was ongoing with the brother, but I think it was for a long time with the father. Yes, I did. I asked him, what did, I didn't know what it was, if it was just touching, or, there's a lot of different degrees. And I remember asking him, do you mean all the way with the sexual, the anal penetration? And he nodded his head, but he did not want to talk about it. It was, too bad to talk about. Yes, she came out for a visit. And by the way, she was a wonderful person. I really, really loved her. She came out, and after we, got to talking, I asked her why did she allow that to happen. That I felt like Russell was a little bit broken because of that. It kind of messed with his head. And she said she didn't allow it. I think she told me that she didn't know what was going on at first. But then once she figured it out, then she put the boys in a trailer that was next to their trailer. I don't know if it was a house or a trailer, but she put the boys, she told them, move them into a trailer that was adjacent to their home, and told them to lock the doors at night and not to let their dad in. And I'm not sure when that happened. I thought maybe I remember him telling me he was around 12 when he moved into the trailer, but I don't remember exactly how old he was when Margie moved them into the trailer. Yeah, do you go Claude the first, Claude the second, Claude the third, or how do you guys do it? That's the third, yes, correct. Yeah, they were both abused, for sure. He's a welder. Well, because when he was growing up, I used to talk about his dad. You know, he had questions, and he used to say, what does his dad do? And I would tell him that his dad was a welder, and that I thought that he would be a good welder someday, too. He wanted to be an accountant, and he went to college for a little while, because he's really good. Nathan's really good with numbers and money. But he kind of wrecked some of his career choices, so that when college didn't work out, he became a welder, and because I encouraged him to, and I thought it would be also I think welding is a nice job. It's not just a job, but it's also a chance to build things, make things, be creative. So I thought it might be something that suited him. He was only a few months old, maybe even just like a month and a half or two, something like that. Well, yeah, he did. I don't think I really left the right way. I didn't really give him any warning that I was leaving. So I think when he found out, he was probably, a little upset. And then he first found me. He came over to my new place, and we had words. He got angry at one point because I was going to call the police or something, and I remember he pulled the phone wire out of the wall, but that was about the worst of it. And then I moved to a new place, and he came to visit me before he went to Florida. I believe he called me first and asked me if it was okay if he came over. I remember him asking me first before he came over, and I thought that was cool. So he came over, and he made one more attempt. Do you want to try to make this work? Because I'm willing if you want to try to make this work. And I said, no, it's just too much. I can't do that right now. The reason is, it wasn't just the drugs. It was the fact that I was nervous about his past. I was nervous about the history that he had with his dad. And I was worried that, this doesn't even seem reasonable now, but I was worried for my son. I thought, I don't want my son to be raised in a household where it's okay to abuse children, or it's, another story he told me was like his grandfather, Claude the First, I guess, used to pay them money to beat up black people because they thought it was funny, and so after they would do it, they would go see their grandpa, and he would pay them money because he was a racist. And it just seemed like, that they were raised by racists, or at least the grandfather for sure. And I never really saw Russell as a racist myself, but it just concerned me, that there was maybe those tendencies, and I didn't want to have anything to do with that. Correct. So from what I understand, they would drive around. So this might have been when the boys were young teenagers, because I think Russell used to hang out with his brother, and so and a friend. There was a friend, I can't remember the friend's name, but they used to hang out a lot together, and I think Russell used to tag along with his brother, and they would find random black guys walking on the street alone, and they would, I think, get out of their car, beat them up a little bit or a lot of it, I don't know. But then they would go to the grandpa, and grandpa would give them money for it. Yes. Yeah, I never met him, but yeah. Yes, he did. So at one point I talked to Russell, I don't remember when, but I started to have trouble with Nathan when he was around 12, smoking cigarettes, and then I got remarried to a man that had some kids who were having some issues themselves, their mother was a meth user. So to make a long story short, when Nathan was around 17, he started using meth, and it got really, really bad for a long time. He was on meth off and on for 17 years, and he got clean and sober about 4 years, 2 months ago, and he's been a completely different person. He used to be, he made his living by stealing. He was shoplifting. He did a few crimes, but a lot of really bad paranoia, like to the point where I didn't know if my son was still in there or not, because I would visit him, and I didn't even recognize who he was. So when he did get clean and sober, and he turned out to be okay in the head, I thought, thank God, because I was really worried that there was going to be some lingering effects. But he seems okay. Seems really good, actually. Yeah. Yes, it's all about the drug use. It's about stealing and getting, and then also you get agitated on meth. You get all worked up, and you don't, there's a lot of things about meth. It's really bad. It's really prevalent out here in California. But yeah, you think you can get away with stuff, and you get really paranoid and just really freaky. Yeah, I don't think he started using meth at 12, but yeah, his older sibling definitely contributed to that line of, heading down that road. Not that I know of. I don't think so. I don't think so, no. You can ask him that, of course, but it's probably up to interpretation. I think me getting divorced and remarried sure didn't help him out. Yeah, I had always protected him, from Russell's side of the family. And then at some point I realized, well, maybe that wasn't the wisest decision. Maybe I should have, trusted them more because Nathan definitely had gone down the wrong path, and it was out of control, and I couldn't do anything about it. So at that point, I'm like, what have I got to lose? Let's send him to his dad, and maybe, something good will happen. And he visited his dad. And before he left, I just told him about Claude the second, the father. And I said, just make sure that you don't do anything. I don't know if I told him details, like I told you just now, because, it's private and stuff. But I just said, that he was abused in general terms, and not to be tricked or let anything like that happen to him. I'm sorry, I don't remember that. I don't recall how long he was there for. Nathan's a pretty tolerant person, so when he complains, it's usually founded, and because he usually doesn't say anything bad about anybody, even when he was younger. He's always just been really cool like that. But the only thing I really remember him saying was that at one point he was sitting on the couch watching TV, and he had his hand resting, or kind of like holding himself. He said he wasn't masturbating or anything like that. He just kind of had his hand there, and he looked up and he saw Russell's dad peering through the window or the doorway or something like that, looking at him kind of in a way that made him feel uncomfortable. Oh yeah, that he actually mentioned it to me, yeah. No, Russell was in prison a lot when Nathan was growing up. There was a time in between prison where somehow or another I talked to Russell on the phone. I don't know how. He must have called us. I don't remember calling him, but I think I was kind of curious if he was going to straighten up and maybe be able to send us some money or something, because we were struggling. But he was nice to us on the phone, and I said, are you gonna, he never got involved, let's just put it that way. He was always, when he visited me when Nathan was around 2, just before he moved back to Florida, and I didn't want to get back together with him, he said, well, I'm going back to Florida, and basically this chapter of his life was going to be closed. And he kind of let me know right then that he wasn't gonna, if he couldn't be a part of it, then he didn't want any, if he couldn't be like a major part or a playing part, then he didn't want any part. So pretty much he never had anything to do with Nathan. Hold on a second. I can't hear her very well with that's going on. Can you repeat it? I'm sorry. Yeah, that sounds right. That's correct. I was watching news clips, and for the first time yesterday, I watched a little bit of the trial. But I wanted to watch his testimony, but I didn't finish it, so I apologize for that. But no, I haven't been keeping up on it that much. Well, when I met him, he was clean and sober at the beginning, and he was a completely different person. And when things started to go south, I got out of there pretty fast. So he's not at all like, 14 felonies or whatever. That's looks like he made a lot of bad choices along the way. So I would say he's definitely worse. And especially if he's still using meth after all these years, you know, most people, I would hope, will wise up and stop using meth because it's very destructive and it destroys your life. Yes, once, yes. Yes, yeah. When I knew him, he was only 20, 21 years old, and he was, you know, there was a lot of good qualities that I saw in him. I had a lot of hope for him, and it's just very disappointing to see, you know, that he's spent so much time on drugs and making bad choices and a life of crime, basically. It's heartbreaking. Good morning.
Ms. Brinkley, I just have a couple questions for you. I want to clarify, your recollection is that you were 16 and Mr. Tillis was 20 when you first met, correct?
Yes, I believe it was shortly before my 17th birthday. So I think we met around August, and my birthday's in October. But I don't think we started having sex until I was 17, if that makes any difference. Yeah, but it wasn't. He never pressured me or anything like that. I was already experienced there, so.
Were you still in high school? So you were, I guess, the summer before your senior year when you first met? Is that true?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So did you graduate?
Yes, I did. 6 months pregnant, and he was at my graduation ceremony, and it was a good day. It was a very good day.
So it's fair to say that Mr. Tillis knew from the very beginning that you were a senior in high school.
Yes.
And shortly after you gave birth, that's when the relationship ended.
Yes.
So you knew Russell Tillis, the defendant in this case, for basically a week. Is that fair?
I lived with him, yeah, but I knew him more. I knew him longer, but yeah, I would say that the relationship was good for about a year.
And I want to talk a little bit about that because you indicated that you did know that Mr. Tillis was involved with drugs before you met him, correct?
Yes.
But because he was clean when you met him, he was, in your estimation, a completely normal person, correct?
I wouldn't say completely normal. Based on his past history, some of the things he said and did worried me.
For sure, I understand. Let me put it this way. He was able to have a job, correct?
Yes.
And he was able to show you enough that you were willing to live with him and have a child with him.
Yes. We talked about getting married, you know, stuff like that.
So at that point in his life, his brain wasn't scrambled or fried or anything like that, correct?
No, I don't know. He didn't seem like it was fried or whatever you say.
And during your short time with Mr. Tillis, did he develop a reputation of being a liar to you? Like, did he catch any lies repeatedly?
He struck me as the kind of person who, he liked to tell stories about times that he got away with stuff. He seemed to get a little bit of a thrill from getting away with stuff, like outsmarting people. And I remember him telling stories, to that effect. And I was like, what? I always wondered why, that was so important to him. But I don't think he lied to me. There was some times where he lied to me. There were some things that he wanted me to do, and there was some retaliation stuff. At the time, I didn't like it, but he was never violent to me. I could give some examples of some things that he said and did, if that's what you're looking for. Yes, some. Obviously, it didn't work out between us, so yeah. I think if he had been completely honest, perhaps, maybe we could have done better. Yes. Yes. Yeah, I was a single mom. I made a lot of mistakes as a young single mom. I wasn't into drugs or alcohol, but love is not enough. Experience is really useful when you're a parent, to have a little background. No, I don't. I know I tell my mom a lot of things, but I don't talk about Russell's abuse because it's private. And yeah, I don't talk about it very much. I probably told my mom. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I must have told my mom. I tell my mom everything. So yeah, I'm sure I must have. Yes. No, it's my fault. Was there ever a discussion about hold on a second. I'm having some reporting. Can you say it one more time? Hold on a second. Or can you please not come in here right now? I can't hear him. All right.
My question was there ever a discussion?
I'm at home and someone's in the kitchen next to me getting ready for work, so it's just, can you, maybe one more time, I'm sorry.
Was there ever any discussion about reporting the crime that Mr. Tillis disclosed to you?
Reporting the crime? Which crime?
When he disclosed about his father and his brother?
Oh, that, no. I figured that was his business. We never wanted to do that. He never wanted to report it. I think he wanted to forget it.
And even still, knowing that, you sent your 17-year-old son to live with these people that you thought maybe had done these things to the next level.
Well, he wasn't gonna, I figured he's 17, he had a good head on his shoulders, and he had warning, and I knew Margie was gonna be there. So I felt like it was worth the risk. Like I said, at the time I sent him, he was pretty much out of control, and I needed some help. So yes, I was willing to take the risk.
My final question is, during the time that you knew Mr. Tillis, did he know the difference between right and wrong?
Did he know the difference?
Yes, ma'am.
That's a tough one because we had a lot of differences of opinion on what was right and wrong, and I thought a lot more things were wrong than he did. So I would say that he knew the difference. He just had his line of right and wrong was further down the road than mine was.
Thank you. That's all the questions I have.
Okay, thank you.